Hey everybody, Shoebox Legends here. Thanks for joining me today for another installment of Slab and Gab here on the channel where we talk about a graded card from my sports card collection. And today I have one that I'm really excited to share. This is a recent pickup. It is a card that is close to 90 years old now, and it's a card that I had no idea even existed until I stumbled upon it and bought it almost immediately, at least made an offer immediately when I found the card. So this is going to be a goalie card, as you can tell by the backdrop and the title of the video. But it's a unique goalie card that I'm willing to bet most of you have not seen before. So in the background, I have a couple 21st century goaltenders from my collection. Tend to focus on the offensive players in the game. The, Connor McDavid's, Alex Ovechkin's, Wayne Gretzky's, Mario Lemieux, and Jaromir Jagr's of the world. I just love the excitement of goal scorers. But I do appreciate goaltenders. I think anyone who is willing to step in front of a net and face, frozen pieces of rubber that are being fired at them at, in excess of 100 miles an hour certainly deserves my respect and admiration. So I love a good goalie card. And as I said, I found this one recently. I was doing some research for something else on eBay, stumbled across this, and immediately fell in love with the card. So let's just take a look at it. And then as we glare at its magnificence, I will get into the various reasons that I was kind of attracted to the card, in case they're not obvious. Some of them will be. So check it out. This is the Teiji Honma Olympic goaltender card for the nation of Japan from the 1936 Winter Olympics. This was put out by Riemsma. Maybe mispronouncing that. You can see it on the flip here of the CSG slab, 1936 Riemsma, and this is Teiji Honma, card number 13. Oversized card. You can tell if I put this modern Carey Price next to it. It's definitely quite a bit bigger than a standard trading card, both in terms of length and width, but it looks great in this tux being a black and white photo, and the photo, of course, is what sold me on this, instantly. So just think it's really cool. 1936 was a year in which we had Summer and Winter Olympics, both done in the country of Germany, which was obviously a becoming a world superpower, and very controversially so at the time. So I was interested in this year and these Summer Olympics because of Jesse Owens and his famed, multiple gold medals in front of Hitler that summer, but stumbled upon this card from the Winter Olympics. And I just thought it was awesome for so many reasons. First of all, the games were played at an outdoor rink, and you can see in the background here are the mountains of Germany and, kind of a pine forest there, which is awesome. So kind of harkens or reminds you of the modern day, Winter Classic game played outdoors. I think both of Japan's games in this Olympics were, at least partially interrupted by snowstorm, which is kind of a cool fact from what I read. He only played in 2 games for Japan in that Winter Olympics. They lost both games. Obviously, they were not a heavy favorite going in. I don't think ice hockey is, big in Japan in the way that baseball and other sports are. So it's probably surprising that they were, even included. I think they finished 9th place out of 15 teams or something like that. But they played surprisingly well, and Teiji Honma played surprisingly well also. They lost their opening game to Great Britain by a score of 3-0. But that was the team that would go on to win the gold medal. So a really good opponent there. And then they lost their second game 2-0. So unable to put up any points or any goals themselves. But Honma did only allow 5 goals over 2 games, facing, in theory, some of the best players in the world. So probably outpaced his expectations coming into the tournament. Other things I love about this card, aside from the history and the mountainous backdrop, just the aesthetics of the photo here and the uniform and the equipment. I mean, this is from a time when an NHL sweater, which some of us, myself included, refer to modern day NHL jerseys as sweaters. This is where that came from. I mean, this is an era where they were truly wearing sweaters. And I just think that patch, that, Japanese patch right on the chest there is just too cool. I love the stripes on the arms, just a really cool look with the chest protector stuffed underneath. Of course, this is the era of the leather pads You have a mitt here, a catcher's mitt that, looks more like a first baseman's mitt maybe, or not like a modern catcher's glove that the goalies wear these days. Same thing with the blocker, kind of strange looking wooden stick, of course. And what's really great about this card is the mask. So the mask did not become a normal, everyday expected thing in the NHL until many decades after this. There are a few examples of folks trying different masks, as early back as the 20s and 30s here. He certainly was one of the first people to wear a mask. And what's crazy about his, and you can tell from the photo, he wore eyeglasses. And so his mask had a wire frame that was, in theory, less width than the width of a puck that protected his eyeglasses on his face, which he wore during gameplay. So maybe one of the only cases, or certainly that I'm aware of a goalie wearing eyeglasses during gameplay, which I think is also cool. And then this is obviously no fault of Teiji Hanma's, but there's also the sort of foreboding element of this card, given what would happen between the nations of Germany, where these Olympics were hosted, and Japan, who Hanma was representing in these Olympics, in the coming years after these Olympics came to a close. So I think, historically, both, in the world of sports and just in, as far as general world history, it's an intriguing card for that reason. And then obviously I just fell in love with that photograph the second I saw it. So there is a 1930s Olympic goaltender from Japan card that I never thought I would own. Something a little bit different today on Slab and Gab. I hope you enjoyed this. I don't know if I showed the back of the card, so I guess before we call it a day, we'll take a quick look at the back. This is written in German, so I'm not going to be a ton of help in translating this, but maybe some of you are fluent, and if you scan through it, you can kind of pick up on some of what is being said anyway. But really cool card. I've never held these in hand, but I'm told they're kind of thin card stock, very, very thin paper stock. So it's nice to have that one slabbed up and protected, and just really happy to add something that kind of strange and unique to my hockey card collection. So I hope you enjoyed this one. I'll certainly be back in the very near future with some more sports card content. And in the meantime, enjoy the hobby.